Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Imuna Yisrael, Solonomics 101. We're going to touch a little bit quickly on this whole drama controversy vibe with Stacy Dash and some comments. So stick with us. Let's listen to what she said concerning Black History Month.
Just like there shouldn't be a Black History Month. You know, we're Americans, period. That's it.
Are you saying there shouldn't be a Black History Month because there isn't a White History Month?
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly, she says, from the leading question from the commentator, are you saying? And she says exactly. But what is Black History Month anyway? Does any of us know, what is it about? Who started it? When? And for what? Sometimes when we don't know our history, we're quick to throw away stuff or discard it and see it as not valuable, when in reality, the same conditions of which birthed this need for Black History Month still exist today. And so let's go ahead and take a look a little bit at it, of who started it, why, for what purpose, and how are we using it today? Because I noticed that everybody, like, it's all over. It went viral. I watched the whole thing kind of just like explode. First it was the comment, and then everybody's commenting, and then Stacy Dash makes her comment, and it worsens the whole situation. And it's kind of like we lose the gist in it because people are looking like media hype. But do you see the value in Black quote unquote history month? Do you take your children or your grandchildren, your niece or your nephews, or the children in the neighborhood and do like the elders used to do and sit them down and let them know where they're from, what kind of people are they from, what were their experiences, and try to connect it from what we're going through today, from what happened in times past? Recently I was reading a book. It's called Weebles in the Week. Very interesting. It's the slave narratives from the 18, actually no, it was the slaves from the 1930s. They were born in slavery and then freed thereafter. And it was interesting just to hear when they were asking them, they weren't that far removed. It was only like less than 80. Some of them was 80, some of them was 70, some of them was 90 years old. And it's shocking just to hear how they didn't want to deal with it. And I talked the other day about trauma blocking, about how we block trauma. So it's nothing new that oftentimes today we don't want to talk about the things that don't to make us feel good. We want to, talk about the things and forget the reality of the fact that there's something behind the curtain that we haven't dealt with that keeps revisiting us. So look on the screen and tell me if you know who this person is. I know you know who Stacy Dash was. Everybody's like, oh, that's Stacy Dash. Well, who's this person? This person is one of the people who spearheaded Negro History Week, Carter G. Woodson, in 1926. This person thought it necessary at that time to see a fair representation of your history because it wasn't being taught in the school system that now you fought to get into. So now that you're in the school system, you're still not seeing a representation of yourself. And so they formed the organization that he was a part of, the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And they announced in 1926 that it will be on the second week of February. They did not ask permission, according to what I know thus far. But if anybody knows any more history about this, feel free to share it, because I would love to hear more about it. But from a brief overview, it were people of quote-unquote color who saw the need and they did something. When we jump over to the 1970s, it went from a week to a month, because they wanted more time. Our people wanted more time to learn more about themselves. Martin Luther King said an interesting quote as regards to history. He says, we are not makers of history, we are made by history. So what if we don't even know the history of which we were made by? How does that help us? There's so many different interesting quotes. Actually, I see here that Carter G. Woodson himself had a quote in which he said, if a race has no history, it has no worthwhile tradition. It becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated. The American Indian left no continuous record. He did not appreciate the value of tradition, and where is he today? The Hebrew keenly appreciated the value of tradition, as it is attested by the Bible itself. In spite of worldwide persecution, therefore, he is a great factor in our civilization. He was speaking to the importance of recording your history and being aware of your history. So for those who are not satisfied with a month, Guess what? He didn't start off with a month. He declared, or with his organization, a week. And then our foreparents declared a month. So who is going to now declare the year? Now we have a sister here, and if anybody knows who she is, I just learned about her because I'm learning. It's so interesting. They didn't teach any of this in school, I promise you. I used to fall asleep in history class because it was unidentifiable, but this very identifiable. This young sister at 15 years old, she's still alive today, by the way. Her name is Claudette Clovin. She came before Rosa Parks. She came earlier that year. She did not stand up when told to get out of her seat to give it to a European quote unquote white woman. And the reason that she gave, I thought was very interesting. I'm going to put her video in the box because someone came and wrote a book about her experience. She was swept under the rug. But what she said was it was during the time right after Negro History Week in the 50s. And she was to a school where they were segregated. So instead of doing it for a week before the 70s, they did it for a week in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. And in doing so, she was empowered by hearing the narratives of her foreparents, namely Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. She said for this purpose, when told to get out of her seat, she could not rise. And she told the people because history had her glued to the seat. In her testimony, she said it felt like Harriet Tubman was on one side, pushing her shoulder down, and Sojourner Truth was on the next. The stories, just hearing them, empowers the individual to know that no, you are not just a cut off branch somewhere. You are connected to a whole root system. And even though the past has been one that is checkered, one can still go back and draw strength from what your foreparents came through, because a strong people comes through that and still stand. So yes, there are many things that are wrong right now with what's going on. There are many things, but there has been much damage. And for us to deny an opportunity, even for the children, you look at the children and say, oh, they don't know anything. Well, we're responsible for teaching them. And so if you're not satisfied with a Black History Week or a Black History Month, then go ahead and make it a Black History Year. Until next time, my name is Amuna Yisrael. This is Solonomics 101. Peace.